There is a time in your life when it seems as if God is not speaking to you about your relationship. There are times in our lives when God just seems very silent concerning our relationship. You might be in a relationship where both of you are planning to marry, and you are asking for the will of God for the relationship, and whether you should continue with this person or you should break up, because it is better to part ways with someone who you're dating than someone who you are married to. The relationship still gives you a choice, but marriage does not give any. When you marry a person, it is something that is sealed and stamped. So you might have been asking and struggling to get the will of God concerning the person, if he or she is the appointed one for you. That someone is right for someone else does not mean that the person is right for you. It is so true that there is nothing like a perfect person. No one can perfect you in terms of the person who meets all your requirements, but there is an appointed person for you. There is a person that God has sent to you or given to be your helpmate throughout your stay in this world. Finding the right one is where the struggle is in many times. This is where we begin to seek the voice of God, to know what He is saying as regards our relationship. Not only the voice of God has a message to us, but also when God is silent about an issue in our life, it is a message to us. You are to listen carefully when you ask God for direction and counsel, and He does not speak, because in the silence is a powerful message to you. Just like when Paul the Apostle was going through a hard and tough time, it was said that a messenger of Satan was sent to buffer and frustrate him in every path that he walked in, wherever he went to preach. There was just a certain atmosphere that seems too abnormal that will seek to stone him always. He prayed to God thrice, and He did not speak. This might be where you are now. You might have been praying and praying to God to speak concerning your relationship. You might have even added fastings and times of consecration, because you heard that fastings sharpen your spiritual antenna, so that you can hear God more clearly, but still God does not speak to you in any way about what will happen if you marry this person. Just like the Apostle Paul, it might just be that God is speaking to you by you speaking to. God spoke to Paul and said to him that, "My grace is sufficient for you, and my strength is made perfect in your weaknesses." Paul thought that he needed for that God should stop the affliction and the torment that was coming his way, but he never realized that more than the afflictions and torment was God trying to teach him a lesson in the troubles and pain, that he faced God more closest to him when he is weak. So when God did not speak, it was to demonstrate to him and to reveal to him a higher dimension of himself that he never knew. This is the same thing that is happening to you when it seems as if God is not speaking about your relationship. There can be many reasons why it happens like that, but even before that, you must come to a point in your life where you cannot be offended by what comes to you. You must be stubborn towards life situations and rigid when troubles come your way, knowing that you will never come to the point where you think that it is God's fault. You are not where you desire to be in. You must never doubt God's love when it seems as if things are not going according to how you are planning. That should be your vision, that I will not come to a point where I will be offended by God for any reason. Many are offended at God, and some persons have denied God because they did not get what they wanted when they prayed to God and fasted. They ask questions, "Lord, where are you in these times?" I know how difficult it can be when you come to that stage of your life where you are hungry for the counsel and direction of God in your life. because you have made mistakes previously in your life and you do not want them to repeat. You just want to make the last relationship decision concerning life, and you do not want to be the kind that you regret, so you need God. In those times, God will not speak concerning your relationship. In fact, when you ask about what to do and if this person is the right person for you, God might ignore what you said and be speaking to you about things that are not related to your relationship. Many times when this happens, it is usually because of our hard hearts that it seems as if God is not speaking and He is silently concerned about some of the aspects of our life. God will not tell us or give us some instruction because He knows the state of heart. And if He does give you the kind of instruction, you will break down and not follow His voice. So instead of speaking to you concerning your relationship, He will allow you to walk in your foolish ways. This is the tragedy in many relationships, because when it comes to things that have to do with emotions in our lives, it is very true that many never want to obey God. We have made the relationship God's to us. God will prefer being silent concerning the relationship than speaking to you, because you have already made up your mind concerning the person you want to marry. Just like Balaam, they will begin to pray and ask for what steps to take when he has given them an instruction that they heard from God. But they keep asking him again, trying to make God bend to follow their desires. That is lust, and it is one reason why many do not walk in answered prayers. This is why you should have obedience when it comes to walking to God, and listen carefully when He is not speaking concerning your relationship, because there might be a message in His silence. Maybe the reason for Him not speaking to you about that person is that you have become so attached to that person that you might want to hear His opinion of the person. God will not speak to you because He has already rejected the person, but you are praying and asking for His counsel. So when you notice that God is silent concerning your relationship, it is about time you tell the person to wait until God speaks. And if they cannot wait until God speaks, and they keep saying that, "Will God marry you?" it is a great sign that person is the devil, and he or she is sent from the pit of hell to destroy you. This is the message that God was trying to pass to you, that you are not with the right person. So His silence was already speaking to you without you knowing. You must pay a lot of attention to the silence and not miss out on what God is saying to you when He's not speaking concerning your relationship. The voice of God many times is not in the wind that blows with a lot of sounds, or in the earthquake that is obvious when it happens. It is in the still small voice. The voice of God is in that perception and intuition on your inside, so you might not hear God speak to you audibly. But when you perceive that peace or the lack of peace, when God is silent, it is still God directing your step and leading to you where your future is destined for glory. God leads us through the lack of peace or not, because it is the surest way to communicate to our hearts without missing anything, if we are seeking God in our hearts. You must always be ready to receive God's voice concerning any matter in your life, especially your relationship. I once heard of a story where a lady was always dragged by her parent to marry because, to them, you had passed the age limit to get married. So they kept bringing different sets of men for her to marry, but she rejected them because she was a Christian, and she was seeking the voice of God on the matter, and God did not speak to her concerning any one of them. And it seems to her that He kept telling her through her perception to wait, that the right one, that the right person He is bringing to her is still in the process of realizing his destiny. She paid attention to the time when God was not speaking concerning relationships, and she got the right person to wait on the Lord. This can be your testimony. Listen carefully when God is not speaking concerning your relationship.